Make a lot of noise right now for Bob!
Cool. Hi, my name's Bub, spelled B-U-B-B. It is my last name and yet also my nickname. So about 3 weeks ago, I was driving my 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and a fun little light turned on my dashboard. And I love when lights turn on my dashboard because when you Google it, it's always like one of two things, right? It's either no worries, totally fine, probably just a faulty sensor, or your car is completely and utterly fucked. It'll cost $5,000 to fix, and oh, surprise, there's 20 other things wrong with your car. So for me, this little light of mine was my transmission overheating light. So I did what any rational person would do. I turned off my car, waited 5 minutes, turned it back on, didn't see the light, got back into my car, and drove to get coffee. And some of you may be thinking, Bub, why the fuck would you do that? You should have immediately gone to a mechanic. But look, I'm not a car girl, okay? I don't live and breathe oil and coolant and RPMs. So when I go to the mechanic, I get ripped off. Because walking into the mechanic, they don't look at me and think, oh, gee, she looks like she knows what she's talking about. They don't look like me and say, oh, her, unscammable. And I know that may come to a surprise to some of you, as I do look like a traditional NASCAR girl. Big titties, loud voice, and daddy issues. But we'll get to that one later. So I go to the coffee shop as a strategy, because when you're balling on a budget, it should be your first stop. So I rock up to the coffee shop, park my car, pop my hood, and I walk away. Why do I do that? Because no man can resist a car with a popped hood. It can lure anyone to your car. It's like moths to a fucking flame. They've got to know what's going on. And so I walk away, crossing my fingers to lure, a father, a brother with a sister, fucking any breed of man who has a paternal instinct and a basic understanding of how cars work. And so sure enough, 5 minutes later, Michael and Helen from Hillsboro rock up and fix my car for free. It was great until 2 days later when my transmission overheated again and totaled my car. I like to call that putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. It's not going to fix it, but it sure feels productive. So it was kind of traumatic. I have a new car now. It's great. But something actually traumatic happened to me back in February. Has anyone had a traumatic experience in relation to porn? Oh, good. So just me. So I'll tell you about it. It was a Saturday morning. I was sleeping in. I live alone, and my dad was in town. Uh-oh. I wonder what's going to be traumatic. So I'm fast asleep. It's Saturday morning, and my dad decides to take a shower. So he's showering, I'm sleeping, and I'm suddenly lulled awake to the sounds of ooh, ooh, ah, porn. It was porn that I was listening to, but my sweet, sweet, innocent self thought it was my neighbors having sex. Isn't that crazy, to want to hear your neighbors having sex? Like, what I would have given in that moment to have heard my neighbors having intense sex, instead of which I was soon to realize was my father masturbating in my shower. It was, and so for those of you that can't understand what I was hearing, my father had accidentally connected to my Bluetooth speakers and was playing porn while also masturbating in my own shower. And so I remember laying in my bed and just, come on, it couldn't be him. Maybe it was a neighbor that's porn was playing in my speakers. But then The Weeknd turned on, and my dad loves The Weeknd. And so it was at that point that I knew it was definitely him. And I've never been so traumatized within the safety of my own home. Just so horrifying. And, you know, for some of you, this might have brought up an experience that you had deeply, deeply suppressed. Like earlier when no one cheered for a traumatic porn experience, maybe you can remember it now. And if not, then I hope that my trauma that I experienced at 7 a.m. in the comfort of my own home can now be your trauma. My name's Bub, and that's my time.